how did you come up with this idea of AI Palette?
In 2018, I actually quit my comfortable job and then went into the entrepreneurship unknown world and started AI Palette. At AI Palette, we imagined a future where you walk into any supermarket and the products on the shelf have been created with AI, or a future where you are scrolling through your phone and you come across an advertisement that has been created with AI.
So I would like to know more about AI Palette, what it does. If I am a shopkeeper or your client, then how you would help me in growing my business or building my brand.
So today in the CPG industry itself, the 90% is the failure rate. So 9 out of 10 products fail in the first year itself. What we do is we look at the millions of digital footprint that are out there, ranging from your social media to the e-commerce, to the food service, to the blogs and the forums and whatnot. And based on that, we are able to identify what are the trending ingredients, what are the trending flavors, the consumption occasions.
As a founder, what should I look into someone when I'm starting a company or looking for a founder?
One of the key skills which really made it for both my co-founder and me was the complementary skill set. But the kind of skill set that we carried allowed us to get connected very, very nicely. So it was like a jigsaw puzzle where both of us could fit in very intricately and we could solve the problem.
Have registered that company in Singapore. So why Singapore? Why not India?
I went into Singapore out of curiosity, but then I stayed there because of the ecosystem. This is more about the government support that existed at that point of time in the Singapore.
Hi Imanshu.
Hello.
Thank you for coming to this show.
Thank you so much for the wonderful opportunity.
So today we are going to talk about the AI palette and the AI trends that are going on in the market. So before starting, I would like to know about you more. How did you started? What kind of person or student you were? What was your journey? And how did you come up with this idea of AI palette?
Sure. So personally, I'm a curious and passionate soul at heart. And professionally, I'm the co-founder at AI Palette. Well, now an ex-co-founder since our startup recently got acquired by Global Data. But just if I go back a little few years, I primarily come from the technology and data science domain. I've been learning and working in this domain for over a decade now. I did my bachelor's in mathematics and computing from IIT Guwahati, and post that I worked at Visa Data Labs as a senior software engineer, where I was primarily building systems that would enable millions of transactions that happen through the Visa network every single day and would help in predicting the payment trends. So this was my journey till 2018. And in 2018, I actually quit my comfortable job and then went into the entrepreneurship unknown world and started AI Palette. And at AI Palette, we imagined a future where you walk into any supermarket and the products on the shelf have been created with AI, or a future where you are scrolling through your phone and you come across an advertisement that has been created with AI. And in order to enable that, I paired up with my co-founder, who actually came from the F&B industry, from the CPG industry. And this all happened in Singapore around the 2018, late 2018. And that's when we practically registered a company. And today to talk about the scale of what all we achieved during the course of 6 years of AI Palette. Well, we worked with customers across 6 different continents, and that's something which I'm extremely proud of. And the only continent that we did not get into was Antarctica, and hopefully, soon we will reach there, and even Mars for that matter. So that's been the journey, and of course, as we go along in our conversation, I'll share more about AI Palette and what exactly it is and how did we go about it. But super excited to be here today.
Thank you so much for introducing your company and yourself. So I would like to know more about AI Palette, what it does in the sense like technically also I want to understand. And if I am a shopkeeper or your client, then how you would help me in growing my business or building my brand.
Yeah. So imagine you are a snack manufacturer. Let's imagine you are a brand manager at PepsiCo and you want to launch a new snacks aimed at the Gen Z in the South India market. Now, one of the biggest challenges which you will face today is firstly to understand what are the trends which are out there in the market, and more importantly, which are the trends that are going to be relevant in a time period of 6 months to 12 months and even more than that, right? So you're really looking for not just the fads, but you're actually looking for trends which are more sustainable in nature and which are going to be there when you actually launch the product. And this is one of the big challenges which every brand manager and the marketing team goes through today in the CPG industry. And traditionally, how this has been done, traditionally they would go to like a market research, a traditional market research like Nielsen, the Kantar, and the others. And what they would really do is they would conduct like a market survey, like a focus group study, where you typically would have 100 to 200 people in a room, and you would try to ask them certain questions and then understand what are the trends in the market. Again, that sample would be a very representative sample, but as you can imagine, in a country of billion plus population like India and China, that's not practically possible, because you cannot have 100 people deciding what to launch for, like, for the millions and the billions of the world.
True.
So that's one of the big challenges. And secondly, the other challenge which this particular industry faces is a lot of these are very biased in nature. So a lot of these surveys that happen, you are actually paying people money, and people like to portray a better part of themselves, so they will not truly represent themselves, and that's why a lot of these result in like failure of the product. So today in the CPG industry itself, the 90% is the failure rate. So 9 out of 10 products fail in the first year itself. So this is what has been happening for almost 100 plus years now. And now how exactly AI Pilot is changing it? Because we have started leveraging another big data set which is related to the consumers, which is the digital footprint. Today, when you and I are going to Starbucks, when you and I are logging into the e-commerce, when you and I are going to a Zomato, we are leaving a lot of digital footprint. And understanding that can actually help us to imagine what are going to be those future trends. And that's exactly what AI Pilot has been doing. What we do is we look at the millions of digital footprint that are out there, ranging from your social media to the e-commerce, to the food service, to the blogs and the forums and whatnot. And based on that, we are able to identify what are the trending ingredients, what are the trending flavors, the consumption occasions. And we don't just stop there. We actually help you to generate the product concept. For example, let's say if you identify in the same example of Pepsi snacks for the Gen Z, let's say if you identify that hot honey chips is becoming very popular, then we will help you to imagine the hot honey chips as a flavor and as a packaging design. You can actually look at how the packaging will look like with the Lace logo as a brand. Similarly, you can also look at the description of the product. What are the claims? And which is something that you would see when you log into Flipkart or Amazon for that matter. So we are able to actually help them to discover the trend, that we are able to help them to generate the product concept, and using that they are able to grow their brands and their products. So it's like a end-to-end innovation, starting from the genesis till the distribution part. And again, there are multiple challenges in all of this, and all of this would otherwise take years and months to conceive. And using AI, we are able to bring it down into weeks, right? So that's one of the pain points of how exactly we are solving for this particular problem.
Correct. So in 2018 you started. So which models you have started with at that time?
Yeah. It's a very relevant question. So back in 2018, as all of you would know, the BERT was one of those early models that was out there. We had Elmo as another model that was out there. And these were again very initial foundational model is what you would say. And a lot of these actually paved the way for the GPTs and the future and the future of the LLMs that we are seeing today, right? Now, again, at that point of time, there were numerous challenges. Like, today with the LLMs, you are at a very different level. But at that point of time, there were still challenges when it comes to the non-English languages. For example, like, if, and specifically for our use case, because what we are going after are the food trends, and food is very, very local. So you need to understand the regional preferences. For example, what is happening in Philippines, what is happening in Malaysia, what is happening in Thailand. So you have to understand the Thai language, the Malay and the Tagalog and the others. So when you are understanding that, you have to go beyond the English. And all those models which were there previously were very good, while they were able to give you a decent accuracy on the English as a language, but for the non-English they wouldn't. However, things have changed dramatically today. Today, if you look at, like, out there in terms of the different models, Quen is a fantastic model by the Alibaba that helps you to understand the Southeast Asian languages and even the Chinese language, for example. Similarly, if you talk about the Mixtral, it's a fantastic model to understand the European languages, so you can understand the French, German, and whatnot. And of course, like, GPT is always there for the English, right? So it's also, what we have really seen is the LLM has sort of been democratized, and you have started seeing these specialized models for the different languages, right? So you're not restricted to only one single model, and it's not like one size fits all. You are actually starting to see a lot of specialization happening in the LLMs. So this is how the journey of the LLM also has been there for the AI palette.
And were there any different tools available already in the market when you started? Any competitors?
Yeah. So again, that's a great segue into how exactly the innovation in the CPG industry has thrived. So CPG industry is one of those very traditional industries which has not moved much when it comes to the AI adoption. And specifically when we started in 2018, while we had some competition which started around the similar time as ours in the US and the Europe market, in Asia we were practically the first, right? because previous to 2018, like even if you would do like a quick Google search, you will see that while there were some AI startups, most of them were very much focused on the fintech as a domains, because that's where a lot of innovation typically starts, right? But all the other traditional domains, which are construction, which are CPG and whatnot, all of them actually had a very late start, right? So around 2018 is when we actually started seeing a lot of these AI companies start to come into conception. And of course, when the chat GPT came, then there was a sudden explosion with all the, like, GPT wrapper companies that started to come up. And today, of course, there are multiple companies that have come out with the AI assistant, the AI research bot and whatnot. And of course, we are now seeing a lot more competition also coming up, and that also presents a new problem of how do you differentiate, right? So all of that is happening today. But again, at that point of time, there were a handful of companies that happened.
Okay, great. I will also be interested in knowing how you made your founder. And like as a founder, what should I look into someone when I'm starting a company or looking for a founder? So from that perspective.
Yeah, that's a great question, and I think it goes beyond just AI pilot. It's a very generic and a very prudent, very important question, especially for someone who is wanting to start a startup. And typically, the first thing that you look for is, hey, who should be my co-founder,
Correct.
right? I think one of the key skills, which really made it for both my co-founder and me, was a complementary skill set, right? My co-founder actually came from the F&B industry, from the business side of it, so he was really good at sales. He was really good at marketing, well, I come from a deep tech background. So I was very good at AI modeling, data engineering, data science, and all of that stuff, right? And as you can imagine, while we both come from very different domains, I came from a fintech domain while he was in the food industry. But the kind of skill set that we carried allowed us to get connected very, very nicely. So it was like a jigsaw puzzle where both of us could fit in very intricately, and we could solve the problem, which was a very deep tech problem at that point of time, right? And you wouldn't imagine a pair of a AI programmer with a market research at that point of time, but that's how practically it happened. And I think I also have to give credit to the Entrepreneur First program. It's a deep tech accelerator program which allows the people from different domain to come together and start deep tech startups. So because I was part of that program in the Singapore, I got an opportunity to meet someone who was outside of my usual circle. Because typically what happens, जैसे मैं अगर इंजीनियर हूँ तो मेरे अराउंड काफ़ी सारे इंजीनियर्स ही होंगे एंड मेरा नेटवर्क हमेशा एक इंजीनियर्स फोकस होगा, राइट? बट अगर मेरे को अपने उसके बियॉन्ड जाना है और मेरे को रियल बिजनेस यूज केसेस को या रियल बिजनेस प्रॉब्लम्स को अंडरस्टैंड करना है, सो आई नीड टू एक्सपैंड माई नेटवर्क. Now, like, couple of ways in which you can do it. For example, you can go to the right conferences, or you can join the programs like this, which will expose you to people which are beyond your comfort zone.
So domain specific लोगों से connect होना, I think it is very important to expand, like to connect the technology with the particular domain to solve the real use cases.
Definitely, definitely. Because I think one of the key things about the B2B is you have the business element in it, right? So you really need to understand कि business में क्या challenges हैं, उनको कैसे tackle करना है, क्योंकि they form a very big part of your tech part of it. See, tech always comes secondary. First thing is always understanding the business problem and then going about the tech which will solve that problem. But I have also seen, like, one of the pattern which commonly happens in the engineer founders, and typically, like, people जो कि engineering background से आते हैं, कि they will try to force fit AI or force fit a solution into a problem, right? कि वो एक fantastic model बना देंगे, एक solution बना देंगे and उसको फिर जाके बेचने की कोशिश करेंगे. But that should not be the way how it should be done. It should always be understanding deeply the problem, and that's where the domain understanding becomes very, very important.
If I have to break it down for finding the right matchmaking for the founders, I would say that first, finding the right problem, finding that right person in that particular domain, which is actually that problem exists.
Hmm.
Then with the technology, you are trying to solve that problem. Right.
Absolutely. Yep. Yep.
And then you have registered that company in Singapore. So why Singapore? Why not India? And if I'm a founder, if I have to compare between, like, if I live in Singapore
Mhm.
and if I had to decide whether I should register in Singapore or India, so what do you suggest? Why and
Yeah. Yeah.
how?
No, I think that's a great question. So there's a very famous Steve Jobs quote, which goes something like this: that you cannot connect the dots when you are looking forward. You can always connect the dots when looking backward, right? And call it a fate, call it luck, or like, call it being at the right place at the right time. I think the Singapore also happened as a serendipity. So like I mentioned earlier, I was part of the Entrepreneur First program, and that's how I actually got into Singapore. And I went into Singapore out of curiosity, but then I stayed there because of the ecosystem. right? Now again, if I were to emphasize upon this particular aspect, what exactly the ecosystem means, this is more about the government support that existed at that point of time in the Singapore. So just to give you a context, by the way, we are also funded by the Singapore government. They were one of the investors in us,
Okay.
and they had this very fantastic equity matching program with all the different venture capital funds that were there. For example, they would co-invest with a lot of venture capital funds, and they would allow them very very differentiated rate when it comes to the equity, and also the different government grants that would exist for the deep tech problems. So there were multiple of such opportunities and funds that were created specifically to provide support to the AI, to the blockchain, to the plant-based startups and whatnot. Right. So I think that was one big differentiator that we identified, because around the same time when we were speaking to the Indian VC firms, when we were trying to raise the capital and raise the funding, one challenge we realized is that the Indian VC firms were far behind in the AI understanding. And many of them were not even aware of what exactly is AI, right? While there were, of course, there were a few that could understand, but then again, the number was very, very low, right? As opposed to Singapore, where the government was pushing a lot with these fantastic schemes by incentivizing the different VC funds that were there. So that was one. The second was also they had world-class research institutions. For example, the NUS and NTU, they are very fantastic college. And we had a lot of partnerships with them where, again, the government would provide a support in terms of stipend sharing, right? So there would be someone like a PhD that you could hire as an intern, and they would actually take care of the stipend of that particular person, right? So
Government will be
the
taking.
government will be taking care. So they
Interesting.
would pay 70% of that money, while the 30% would be borne by the company. So it's very great, especially for the early stage who don't have a lot of funding, and you cannot pay a exorbitant amount of money to the early engineering team. So I think things like this really made that ecosystem conducive, to the data science and the AI part of it at that point of time, right? And that was also the reason why we were able to raise our funding back in 2019, again without having, with having only a handful of customers and not even having like a fully fledged product at that point of time. However, fast forward to today, I would say things have changed a lot. I think India has definitely made a lot of progress. If I specifically talk about the venture capital ecosystem, a lot of progress has happened. Today, I think there are equally and even more generative AI funds, the funds that are focused on AI and deep tech in India. Again, many of these are Western funds, but again, they are at least giving an opportunity to a lot of the Indian startups. So that's one change that I'm seeing. I'm also seeing there's a push from the government, but I think the challenge there is while the policies are there, the implementation lacks, right? So there is a lot of bureaucracy which happens, because of which, while the policy may be very fantastic, but the ground level implementation is lacking. So I think it will take a bit of time, because India, again, it's a developing market. It has its own uh, challenges when it comes to the corruption, when it comes to the bureaucracy and the red taping part of it. But I think we will reach there. It's maybe a matter of time, is what I would say. Now, talking about the last part of your question, if today you had to start a company in Singapore versus India, I think again it depends on where your customers are. To be very honest, I think if your customers, if you're focusing on India as a market, then no brainer, you should start in India. But let's say if you're aiming to be a global company, and let's say if you're specifically targeting the US market, then I've seen the dual structure work really really well, where people establish the headquarters in India, in US, but then they would have the engineering and the technology center in India, because it also
In
provides
US or Singapore?
US and Singapore also, for that
Okay.
matter, right?
Got it.
Now, of course, Dubai is also coming out as another lucrative opportunity. So
Mm.
there are multiple centers which are forming up. But yeah, that's one of the other structures that I'm seeing. But again, I would say, some of these things don't matter a lot, to be very honest with you. I think ultimately you should only go to where your customers are present, because that will help you a lot. If you are a US company selling to India, then it will become more tougher because of regulations and whatnot. So if your customers are in India, focus on India as a market, and establishing your entity. But let's say if your customers are in US or in Europe, then obviously US will be better. And if they are in Southeast Asia, then Singapore will be better.
Okay. And if you mention about the implementation challenges, right? If one message you have to give to government today that from my this of years of experience, if we can implement this single two three things in India, then it would be great for the startups.
Yeah. I think we definitely need like lot of the co-investment government funds that happen with the venture capital, because I tell you today what is happening is, while there's a lot of capital available at the seed stage, I think what really lacks is you don't have the capital at the seed to series A stage, which is, going from early stage to growth stage. Because what happens is lot of this needs a patient capital. You need a capital for a longer time period because deep tech startups will not give you results very quickly. They will need like a lot of time, lot of understanding and whatnot. And I think this kind of patient capital can only be put up by the government because the incentives of the VC fund are always about like failing fast and having shorter fund cycle. So if the government actually steps in and starts co-investing into some of these deep tech startups, whether it is in semicon, whether it is in EV as an example, right? I think recently I was reading somewhere that how the China government actually invested a lot of money into boosting the EV industry of China. Right? They have invested like a lot into the different startups, into creating that ecosystem, and that's why like they are doing quite fantastic today, right? You have the brand of BYD coming out like at a global level, right? And it's becoming like another Tesla for that matter. While India still lags behind in the EV ecosystem. So I think one thing which I would definitely recommend is like having like a co-investment fund which can actually start investing into the startups not only at the seed stage but going beyond that and providing like a lot of patient capital to some of these deep tech startups, whether it is in space tech, whether it is in EV, whether it is in semicon industry, and so on and so forth.
So you're saying that co-investment is not happening right now, or is it happening only till the seed stage?
So I think there are some government grants,
Yeah.
but definitely you don't have like a very fixed, like co-investment sort of a fund today, right? So I think we definitely need a fund which is a deep tech fund by the government.
Okay.
Again, it can be sector agnostic or it can also be sector focused. For example, there could be a deep tech fund specifically for the space tech companies. There could be a deep tech fund which is specifically focused on EV as an industry, right? So having these different funds which are backed by the government and then co-investing with the venture capital, the private venture capital, I think that will unlock a lot of value creation and a value chain for the entire industry as a whole.
So would you like to share some of the stories when you started the startup and some of the learnings from your side which our audience can take, founders especially?
Sure, sure. So I'll talk about a one of the interesting story which happened. Again, this was like very early stage when we did not even have a product, to be very honest. So there was this one meeting that we were able to set up with a very senior leader at Diageo. So Diageo is, by the way, one of our early customers. You may know them from the brands that they own, such as Johnny Walker, Guinness, Smirnoff. So all of them roll up into the Diageo as a overall company. They're a massive, massive company, almost $66 billion of market cap that they have today. And if I talk about this specific meeting, again, this happened in early 2019. At that point of time, it was just Som and me. Both of us were there. And there was no product per se. The only thing that we had was a working code which was there on a Jupyter notebook, and it could take in some input and it could give some output, right? And when this particular meeting happened, I literally shared my Jupyter notebook and started showing certain inputs and showcasing the results on the fly, and how can this particular technology help them to understand the consumer insights, right? How it can go through like multiple data in minutes and it can give them results. And I think the senior leader was really blown away with the demo. And one of his remarks was, "This is exactly what we have been trying to understand," because they also understood that digital footprint is only going to become more and more better, especially because of the digital penetration that is happening in whether it was in Southeast Asia or whether it was in India for that matter. So I think this was one one of the interesting things which happened. But at the same time, he asked one of the question which every founder, every early stage founder is dreadful of or is scared of, which is that how big is your team, right?
Okay.
And at that point of time, there was like a pin drop silence, because it was practically just the two of us, right? Which was Som and me, and we literally ended up answering that you are looking at the entire team, right? And of course, firstly he laughed out like a lot, and then at the same time he respected us as well, because he realized that these two crazy people are really going after a grand vision, and he also felt that there would be a lot of opportunity that this both of these people with complementary skill set could build into. And we are very thankful to Diageo for taking a bet on both of us at that point of time, even when we did not have any product as such. And I think it has gone pretty great from there, right? Because I think once you get these early adopters, one of the things which also happen is you start co-building your product with them, right? So you take a lot of learning opportunity, a lot of feedback.
Hmm.
And once you have built that, then it becomes very easier for you to start selling it to the Coca-Cola, to the PepsiCo and the others, right? So extremely grateful to Diageo and all the early adopters of our product, which actually helped us in shaping the product during the very initial journey. And coming on to the second part, which I think you will mention, that what is the learning, right, which we can take away from this. So I think one of the key learning is, as you would have realized, we did not build a very, fantastic product in the very beginning, right? We did not have like a full-fledged product. It was just like a working prototype, very bare minimum skeleton of a code. But what we actually unlocked was understanding the customer problem. And I think that's the key takeaway and the key message, that as founders, we always get very excited about building this cool tech, right? कि नया LLM आ रहा है, चलो कुछ कर लेते हैं. Let's build this new image capability, text generation capability and whatnot. But sadly, that is not how it works, because I think what you really need to understand is कि problem क्या है, right? What is the exact pain point which your customer is facing on a day-to-day basis,
Hmm.
and for which they would actually be willing to pay you money, right? I think that's the other important part. Sometimes there are problems which are vitamins and then which are painkillers, right? So you want to, I mean, when I say the solution of yours, that could be either vitamin or a painkiller. So you actually want to build something which is painful to the customers today, and they would actually pay money to remove that pain, as opposed to something which is just good to have, right? कि कुछ basics आपने बना दिया, but then they won't really pay money for it.
Correct.
So the key important aspect is to really understand how the customer's day-to-day life goes and what would happen tomorrow. You should also ask this question to yourself: what would happen tomorrow if your product does not exist? Would they be happy? Would they be sad? Would they come back to you? Would they be angry? Because that will also help you to understand ki how important your product is. If your product is very easily replaceable, then you know that you don't have any moat. If they won't even mention anything, they won't be frustrated after your product is not there in the world anymore, then you know you have not really built a painkiller, you have built a vitamin. So this is extremely critical advice कि बस cool tech ना बनाए.
Okay.
Just focus on the problem understanding, problem समझे customer की exactly क्या है, and then you start building the product. Once you have understood the problem very, very deeply, that's when you start leveraging whether you need to apply AI, you need to apply a data analytics, you need to apply data engineering, whatever it may be, right? But that's only then and then you should start working on the solutioning and the solution part of it.
गॉट इट। तो उसमें से मुझे एक क्वेश्चन और आ रहा है कि कितने इन्वेस्टर्स को पिच किया था और फाइनल इन्वेस्टर
Yeah.
कौन से नंबर पे था? मतलब व्हेन डिड
Yeah,
ही
yeah.
टोटली अंडरस्टूड यू?
Yeah, so I think one of the things which I am sure will be very common with every entrepreneur that you speak to, that they get accustomed to hearing no's, right? And I think it was the same with us as well. If I have to maybe talk about in a ballpark figure, maybe we would have gone through like 50 no's to get to the first yes, and I'm sure sometimes the number would be even higher in certain cases, right? It could be 100 no's to get to that one yes. Again, I think in our case, while we were at the right ecosystem, so that really helped us to get that first seed investment. But at the same time, I know a lot of Indian founders who were there in the 2018, 2019 time period. He struggled a lot, right? They literally had to go through hundreds of no's in the Indian startup ecosystem, and ultimately they had to raise capital from foreign funds, which were there in the US, in the Europe, and whatnot. And that's the reason why you also see why YC is so successful, right? Because the reason why it is so successful is because it allows you a launch pad into the Silicon Valley, and it unlocks the investor circle which is out there.
करेक्ट।
So I think the similar challenge happened for us as well. But thanks to the Singapore ecosystem, fortunately we were able to get it at a 50th. After speaking to multiple people. Again, I would also highlight one of the key things which happens. Specifically for the Singapore and also for the Southeast Asia and Asia in general, I think there's a aversion which is there, right? We are not by nature risk taking compared to the West, and I think while it is changing, it is and it is for the better. While it is changing, I think it will take us a bit of time, and that's the reason why you don't see a lot of capital being put into the deep tech today. And slowly, I'm assuming and I'm optimistic that this will change. But that's where we are today as a nation.
Got it. So that leads to my next question is like YC, just like founders which are just starting, how YC helps them and how why we don't have the YC kind of thing in India?
Yeah. See, again, I think the way to understand why YC exists, you have to actually look at the origination of it, right? So the founding partners actually came from a very matured ecosystem, which was the Silicon Valley ecosystem or the Bay Area ecosystem, right? And I think, and that's something which, like, will take time in India, because India is still a developing VC ecosystem. And what happens in a developed ecosystem is, because people have gone through the wealth creation, they have gone through exits, they have gone through IPO, there's a lot of capital which is out there. So everyone initially starts with the consumer problems, right? I mean, you had Ubers, you had Meituan, for example, in the China, who were food delivery app and whatnot. But slowly over a period of time, when they actually got the returns from the IPOs and the exits, then the wealth creation happens, and then the wealth actually gets put into your deep tech startups. Right? And that's something which has already happened in US, because that cycle has happened. It's always been at the forefront of it, and that's where we are taking the inspiration from. I mean, rest of the Asia and the rest of the markets. And I think it's only a matter of time when it will also happen in India. I think slowly we are starting to see the early signs of that. Today, you do have startups that are getting funded. You have Pixel, for example, that's there in the space tech. Similarly, you have startups that are coming up in EV. You have startups coming up in semicon. So I think it's only a matter of time when you will also have the similar kind of accelerators that will happen out of India. Today you don't have that because the startup ecosystem is yet to mature, and also we need to see more of the IPOs, we need to see more of the exits that happen, and a lot of wealth creation needs to happen.
आपने डेटा यूज़ किया मल्टी मॉडल्स के लिए, सो आई एम वेरी क्यूरियस टू नो कि कैसे उस डेटा को यूज़ किया, इज इट अ पब्लिकली अवेलेबल डेटा
हम्म
और सम थर्ड पार्टी वेंडर्स फॉर दैट डेटा?
हम्म। हाँ, सो देखिए, एक तो सबसे ज़्यादा जो इम्पोर्टेंट होता है किसी भी एआई मॉडल के लिए, वो डेटा ही होता है, राइट? सो सबसे पहला इम्पोर्टेंट पॉइंट है कि व्हाट इज़ द काइंड ऑफ डेटा जो कि आप एआई मॉडल को ट्रेन कर रहे हैं और उसके ऊपर आउटपुट को लेके आ रहे हैं। सो जस्ट टू गिव यू अ कॉन्टेक्स्ट, एट एआई पायलट हम लोग 5 टाइप के डेटा सोर्सेज़ को टैप करते हैं। सो जैसे सोशल मीडिया हो गया, दैट इज़ वन ऑफ द बिग सोर्सेज़। उसके अलावा हम लोग देखते हैं फूड सर्विस, तो फूड सर्विस हो गया आपका मेन्यूज़, कि रेस्टोरेंट्स में लोग क्या-क्या खा रहे हैं, क्या-क्या टाइप के मेन्यू के आइटम आ रहे हैं, क्या नई डिशेस आ रही हैं, क्या नई कॉकटेल्स आ रहे हैं फॉर एग्जांपल। सो दैट्स अ सेकंड टाइप। थर्ड हो गया ई-कॉमर्स या रिटेल। सो ई-कॉमर्स रिटेल हो गया आपका कि अमेज़न पे क्या चल रहा है, बिग बास्केट में क्या चल रहा है, फ्लिपकार्ट में क्या चल रहा है, उन पे रिव्यूज़ क्या हैं लोगों के। सो ऑल ऑफ दैट डेटा अगेन गिव्स यू अ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट इनसाइट इनटू व्हाट आर पीपल लुकिंग फॉर। फिर चौथा आता है आपका सर्च, एंड सर्च इज़ अगेन वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट, क्योंकि उससे आपको इंटेंट पता चलता है, राइट? अगर मैं मान लो जाके गूगल सर्च पे लिख रहा हूँ कि मेरे को वीगन डाइट की रिकमेंडेशंस चाहिए, सो यू नो कि आई एम इंटरेस्टेड इन वीगन एज अ ट्रेंड, राइट? सो दैट्स द अदर पार्ट। एंड देन फाइनली हम लोग ब्लॉग्स फोरम्स में भी देखते हैं, क्योंकि देर आर मल्टीपल ब्लॉग्स विच आर स्टार्टेड बाय द इन्फ्लुएंसर्स और द अदर पीपल हु आर पैशनेट अबाउट फूड एंड अबाउट ब्यूटी एंड पर्सनल केयर, राइट? सो इन 5 डेटा सोर्सेज को हम लोग लेते हैं, एंड अगेन दीज आर फ्रॉम अ कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ फैक्टर्स। कुछ तो होते हैं डायरेक्ट एपीआईज के थ्रू, कुछ होते हैं थर्ड पार्टी डेटा प्रोवाइडर्स के थ्रू, और कुछ के केसेस में डायरेक्ट स्क्रिपिंग, राइट? सो इन सब का कॉम्बिनेशन करके हम पहले वो सारा का सारा डेटा लेते हैं, विच इज़ द डेटा लेक, हम उसे बोलते हैं। एंड हमारा आज के दिन में जो डेटा है, इट्स ऑलमोस्ट 60 बिलियन डेटा पॉइंट्स अक्रॉस ऑल ऑफ दीज 5 डिफरेंट फॉर्मेट्स, राइट? एंड दिस इज जस्ट द पार्ट ऑफ जो हम लोग यूजर जनरेटेड पार्ट पे लेते हैं। उसके अलावा कस्टमर साइड का भी डेटा रहता है कि कस्टमर की क्या इनपुट्स हैं, रिसर्च रिपोर्ट वगैरह एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट। और इन सबको फिर कंबाइन करते हैं मल्टी मॉडल एआई से। सो मल्टी मॉडल का मीनिंग है कि उसमें मल्टीपल मोड्स हैं, विच इज़, सो मोड्स को एक तरीके से आप समझ सकते हैं कि टेक्स्ट हो गया, इमोजी हो गया, इमेज हो गया। अब टेक्स्ट का इट्स वेरी ऑब्वियस कि अगर मान लो मैंने ट्विटर पे कुछ लिखा है या फिर मैंने इंस्टाग्राम पे कुछ लिखा है कि आई एम हैविंग दिस पर्टिकुलर कॉफ़ी एट स्टारबक्स कैफ़े, तो उससे आपको पता चलता है कि हाँ, मैं क्या मैं कौन से टाइप की कॉफ़ी ले रहा हूँ, कहाँ पे ले रहा हूँ, किस लोकेशन पे ले रहा हूँ। सो दैट्स वन इनसाइट। सिमिलरली अगर आप आज की जनरेशन को देखेंगे, तो जो कि जेनज़ीज़ हैं, वो लोग काफ़ी ज़्यादा इमोजीज़ के थ्रू कम्युनिकेट करते हैं। दे विल नॉट राइट एनीथिंग, वो बस इमोजीज़ डाल देंगे, हार्ट्स वगैरह, कॉफ़ी का कप का इमोजी बना दिया एंड हार्ट हार्ट बना दिया। सो उससे आप कैसे अंडरस्टैंड करेंगे कि एक्चुअली में लोगों को कॉफ़ी पसंद है, राइट? सो दैट्स द अदर इमोजी वाला पार्ट। एंड द थर्ड वुड बी इमेज, क्योंकि काफ़ी बार अब क्या होता है कि यंगर जनरेशन बस इमेज डाल देंगे एंड दैट्स इट, कैप्शन भी नहीं डालना उन्हें, बिकॉज़ दे आर हैविंग द गोल्ड फिश का अटेंशन स्पैन, राइट? सो उससे आप कैसे समझ सकते हैं कि इमेज में किस टाइप की चीज़ें हैं, किस टाइप के फूड प्रोडक्ट्स हैं, किस टाइप का मेकअप है फॉर एग्जांपल्स, और उन सब के बेसिस पे हाउ डू यू लुक एट ऑल ऑफ दीज 3 थिंग्स एंड देन कंबाइन देम टुगेदर, और उससे सिग्नल्स को कैसे अंडरस्टैंड कर सकते हैं। सो दैट्स एग्ज़ैक्टली व्हाट वी आर डूइंग एज़ पार्ट ऑफ द मल्टी मॉडल। And the best part is we do it across multiple languages, right? So we are doing it across 18 different languages, right from your साउथ ईस्ट एशिया की अगर मैं बात करूँ तो थाई हो गया, बहासा हो गया, आपका फिलिपिनो हो गया, जापानीज, कोरियन एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट। और उसके बाद यूरोप वगैरह में हम लोग फ्रेंच, जर्मन एंड ऑल ऑफ दीज डिफरेंट लैंग्वेजेस। इफ़ आई टॉक अबाउट साउथ अमेरिका विच इज़ लैटिन अमेरिका, वहाँ पे हम लोग पोर्टुगीज एंड स्पेनिश विच आर अगेन वेरी पॉपुलर। सो ऑल ऑफ दीज लैंग्वेज एंड ऑफ कोर्स इंग्लिश इज ऑलवेज देयर। सो इन सारी लैंग्वेजेस को, सारे इमोजीज को और सारी इमेजेस को कंबाइन करते हैं अक्रॉस बिलियंस ऑफ डेटा पॉइंट्स, और इसके बेसिस पे वी आर एबल टू रियली अंडरस्टैंड द ट्रेंड्स व्हिच आर हैपनिंग। एंड देन वी आर एबल टू टेल, लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल अगर नेस्कैफे एज अ ब्रांड है ऑफ नेस्ले, वी आर एबल टू टेल देम कि बैंगलोर में क्या फ़िल्टर कॉफ़ी चल रहा है या कैपुचिनो चल रहा है या किस टाइप का ट्रेंड चल रहा है, राइट? एंड दैट इज़ व्हाट दे कैन देन यूज़ इन देयर मार्केटिंग कैंपेन, दैट इज़ व्हाट दे कैन यूज़ एज़ एन इनसाइट कि अगर उनको कोई नया प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च करना है एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट। सो दिस इज़ जस्ट टू गिव यू अ कॉन्टेक्स्ट कि हाउ वी आर लेवरेजिंग एआई अक्रॉस मल्टीपल डेटा सेट्स, और उसके बेसिस पे हम किस तरीके से आउटपुट को निकालते हैं।
करेक्ट। सो अगर मैं यहाँ पे अभी नेक्स्ट क्वेश्चन पूछूँ कि जैसे आज अगर आपको स्ट्राइक करना होता
हुँ।
वो तो एजेंटिक एआई यूज़ करके आप वो चीज़ कैसे रिस्ट्रक्चर किए होते अभी?
गॉट इट। तो इफ यू लुक एट द डिफरेंस बिटवीन जो ट्रेडिशनल एआई है और एजेंटिक एआई है, द डिफरेंस इज कि ट्रेडिशनल एआई इज मोर ऑफ लाइक अ असिस्टेंट वेयर यू ह्यूमन हैव टू प्रोवाइड इट इंस्ट्रक्शंस। फॉर एग्जांपल अगर मैं रिकमेंडेशंस की बात करूँ, मान लो मेरे को मूवी रिकमेंडेशन जानने हैं, तो मैं जाके एआई को बोलूँगा कि मेरे को बताओ कि कौन सी मूवी मेरे को देखनी है नेटफ्लिक्स पे, राइट? या फिर अगर मेरे को कल के वेदर के बारे में जानना है तो आई विल आस्क इट अ क्वेश्चन और वो मेरे को रिस्पॉन्स देगा, राइट? एजेंटिक एआई थोड़ा-सा वन स्टेप फॉरवर्ड है। सो एजेंटिक एआई में होता क्या है कि आप वर्कफ्लोज़ बना सकते हो, आप ऑटोमेट कर सकते हो। इट्स लाइक अ ऑटोनोमस सिस्टम व्हिच कैन आल्सो टेक डिसीजंस। सो फॉर एग्जांपल, लेट्स से अगर मैं उससे लाइक पूछता हूँ कि कल का वेदर क्या है फॉर एग्जांपल, सो इट कैन डेफिनिटली टेल मी द वेदर। बट लेट्स से अगर उसे पता है कि कल बारिश होने वाली है, तो फिर वो क्या करेगा कि मेरे जितने भी मेरे कैलेंडर के एक्सेस में अगर कोई आउटडोर वाली चीज़ है, तो पहले तो वो उसको हटा देगा। और उसके साथ-साथ वो मेरे को अलर्ट्स वगैरह दे देगा कि अम्ब्रेला को कैरी करें। सो इट्स लाइक इट्स टेकिंग डिसीजंस एंड गोइंग बियॉन्ड जस्ट वन स्टेप, राइट? सो अगर मैं ट्रेडिशनल एआई और एजेंटिक एआई को एक तरीके से डिफरेंशिएट करूँ, तो ट्रेडिशनल एआई थोड़ा-सा हो जाएगा रिएक्टिव, व्हाइल आपका क्या कहते हैं, एजेंटिक एआई होगा वो काफ़ी एक्टिव है और रेदर प्रोएक्टिव इन अ वे, राइट? सो दैट्स अ ट्रेडिशनल डिफरेंस। नाउ इफ आई स्पेसिफिकली टॉक अबाउट कि सीपीजी इंडस्ट्री में किस तरीके से आप बोल सकते हो कि एजेंटिक एआई के आने से क्या चेंजेस होंगे, क्या नहीं होंगे। तो अगर मैं अपना सेम एग्जांपल बताऊं, जैसे अगर मैं पेप्सी का ब्रांड मैनेजर हूं और मेरे को नया प्रोडक्ट लॉन्च करना है, अब उसको मेरे को करने के लिए पहले मेरे को क्या करना पड़ता, मेरे को अगर एआई पायलट एज अ सॉल्यूशन मैं ले रहा हूँ, तो मेरे को एक्चुअली में प्रोडक्ट में जाके पहले तो मेरे को ट्रेंड्स आइडेंटिफाई करने होते हैं कि क्या चल रहे हैं। उसके बाद फिर मेरे को उससे कंसेप्ट बनाना होता, फिर मैं इनपुट देता कि हाँ इनमें से ये ट्रेंड लो और इसके बेसिस पे तुम ऐसे कंसेप्ट निकालो, इसको जनरेट करो, पैकेजिंग कैसी होगी। सो आई देयर वुड बी अ लॉट ऑफ ह्यूमन स्टेप्स दैट वुड बी इन्वॉल्व। उसके बाद मैं उसका पैकेजिंग डिज़ाइन बनाता, उसके बाद मैं उसे बोलता कि हाँ इसको इस मार्केटिंग एफर्ट में इस तरीके से करना चाहिए, इसका डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन ऐसा होना चाहिए एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट। Now all of that involves a lot of human steps. While it is still automated, you can call it semi automated. बट एजेंटिक एआई में आप क्या कर सकते हैं, आप इस पूरे को ऑटोनोमस वर्कफ्लो बना सकते हैं। तो आप उसे एक प्रॉब्लम स्टेटमेंट दे सकते हैं कि एआई की एजेंटिक एआई को आप जाके बोलिए कि मेरे को एक फंक्शनल बेवरेज या मेरे को एक एनर्जी ड्रिंक बनानी है फॉर जेंजीस, जो कि साउथ इंडिया के कस्टमर्स को टारगेट करे, और लेट्स से वो मेरे को 3 महीने के अंदर अंदर चाहिए। सो प्रिपेयर अ प्लान फॉर दिस कि वो कैसा होगा। सो एजेंटिक एआई के लिए आप अगर वर्कफ्लो बना दोगे तो वो क्या करेगा, सबसे पहले तो वो जाके ट्रेंड्स ऑटोमेटिकली आइडेंटिफाई करेगा कि क्या रेलिवेंट है पूरा का पूरा डेटा के थ्रू। सेकंड स्टेप पे वो जाके खुद ही रिकमेंडेशंस भी कर देगा कि कैसे टाइप के कंसेप्ट्स चलेंगे मार्केट में विद मिनिमल ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन। और उसके बाद वो खुद ही जीटीएम स्ट्रेटजीज भी बता देगा कि आपको कैसे टारगेट करना चाहिए। फॉर एग्जांपल, क्या आपको बैंगलोर को टारगेट करना चाहिए, आपको कर्नाटका को टारगेट करना चाहिए, या फिर आपको तमिलनाडु को टारगेट करना चाहिए, या आपको केरला में टारगेट करना चाहिए, और किस ग्रुप को करना चाहिए, कौन से सुपरमार्केट्स में जाना चाहिए। सो ऑल ऑफ दैट ऑटोमेशन एंड टू एंड वो पूरा का पूरा आपको एजेंटिक एआई बना के दे देगा, जो कि ट्रेडिशनल एआई में थोड़ा-सा आपको ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन के थ्रू बनाना पड़ता है, क्योंकि वहाँ पे डिसीजन ह्यूमन ले रहा था। इट्स जस्ट दैट कि डेटा डिसीजन मेकिंग के लिए जो डेटा पॉइंट चाहिए थे, वो आपको ट्रेडिशनल एआई देता था। बट एजेंटिक एआई में बेस्ट पार्ट ये है कि वो डिसीजन भी बना सकता है ऑन इट्स ओन एज़ लॉन्ग एज़ यू प्रोवाइड इट कॉन्टेक्स्ट।
ओके, सो हाउ इफेक्टिव यू थिंक कि ह्यूमन का जो पहले डिसीजन था और अभी जो एजेंटिक एआई, व्हिच डिसीजन विल बी मोर बेटर यू थिंक?
Yeah. So again, see, agentic AI is a relatively newer technology. I think it is yet to be proven in the market. While in some areas, obviously, we are seeing a lot of influence, जो कि अभी हो रहा है. But I think it will take some time कि आप बोल सके कि ROI इसका कितना होगा.
करेक्ट।
As opposed to let's say कि अगर मैं ह्यूमन के थ्रू करता या फिर मैं एजेंटिक एआई के थ्रू करता अलोन. बट एक और चीज़ आपको समझनी पड़ेगी कि एजेंटिक एआई में जो वर्कफ्लो बनाते हैं उसमें भी ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन इन्वॉल्व है. बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली जो आप वर्कफ्लो बना रहे हो वो आ तो ह्यूमन इनपुट के बेसिस पे ही रहा है. सो इट्स नॉट दैट कि ह्यूमन इज नॉट इन्वॉल्व. ह्यूमन इज डेफिनेटली इन्वॉल्व. इट्स जस्ट दैट कि उसका जो पूरा बीच का टाइम जाता था जो कि एक एक चीज को बताने में और काफी ज्यादा ह्यूमन इंटरवेंशन होता है वो पूरा का पूरा रिड्यूस हो जाएगा. सो काफी हद तक आप उसे ऑटोमेट कर दोगे. So that's the difference. I think how effective it will be and how the metrics will be, I think that's something only time will tell. But I think I am very optimistic in terms of क्योंकि काफी बार क्या होता है कि ह्यूमंस में बायस आ जाते हैं.
Correct.
बट मशीन्स आर एंड मशीन्स आल्सो हैव अ बायस अगर इफ दे हैव बीन ट्रेन्ड ऑन द रॉन्ग डेटा. सो अगर डेटा लेकिन आप अनबायस्ड तरीके से करते हो सो देन मशीन विल बी मोर ऑटोमेटेड. एंड थिंक ऑफ इट एज समवन जो कि बिना बायस के विल वर्क 24/7 एंड लाइक यू नो यू कैन इट कैन प्रैक्टिकली वर्क व्हेन यू आर आल्सो स्लीपिंग.
मुझे भी इस बारे में बात करना है कि देखो, जैसे सर्च था, जैसे अगर आपने मेंशन किया कि सर्च पहले गूगल से होता था, आप पूरा डेटा गूगल के एपीआई कीज़ यूज़ करके हम लोग क्या सर्च कर रहे हैं, ट्रेंड उस बेसिस पे हम लोग डिसाइड करते थे।
Hmm.
बट नाउ इट्स अ एजेंटिक एआई एंड इट्स मोर ऑफ अ चैट जीपीटी एंड परप्लेक्सिटी एंड मेनी मोर
Yeah.
टूल्स।
Yeah.
सो पीपल आर सर्चिंग ऑन दिस रादर देन गूगल।
Yeah.
सो हाउ डू यू थिंक दैट इन फ्यूचर ये सब चीज़ें चेंज होंगी? एडवर्टाइजमेंट
Yeah.
ही पूरा चेंज हो रहा है।
Yeah. Yeah, I think very interestingly, I think just yesterday I was at another event, Antler का एक demo day type का event था, where you also had, which was actually hosted by Generative Beings. It's a Gen AI community, and वहाँ पे एक startup था, which was actually reimagining how SEO will actually look like in Chat GPT and Perplexity and all of these search engines now. Because अब हो क्या रहा है कि you're moving away from Google to these tools. So how do you ensure कि आपका रिजल्ट टॉप पे आए,
Correct.
राइट? एंड जस्ट टू एक्सटेंड द थॉट ऑन इट कि अगर वो एसईओ को हम लोग ऑलरेडी री इमेजिन करने लग गए हैं इन दीज न्यू टूल्स इन दीज न्यू सर्च इंजन्स. So it's very obvious over a period of time it will also get monetized.
Yeah.
So what we are actually going to see is there will be a shift which will happen maybe from the traditional Google search engine and the others. By the way, Google is also having Gemini, like, you know, summarize the results and provide all of that in the very beginning. So they are also already realizing the threat. But just to complete this loop, what will really happen is we will move to a world where the chat GPTs of the world and the perplexities of the world will actually start monetizing for showing which result on the top, right? So it will just move, it will just shift.
Are
Not
we saying the Google Ads के कंपटीशन में सब आने वाले हैं? जैसे गूगल एड इज द
Yes.
ओनली प्लेटफॉर्म राइट
Yeah.
नाउ व्हिच इज देयर
Correct, correct.
फॉर
And I think it's and I think Google realizes this, to be very honest, and that's why they are putting all their bets, big bets on ensuring this, like, you know, Gemini में जो innovation हो रहा है. Recently they have come out with agent to agent, so there are multiple innovation that they're continuously working on. And they also realize the threat of, like, you know, the incumbents like ChatGPT and the Perplexity and the others. But I think only time will tell कि अभी कौन इनमें आगे जाएगा.
Yeah. So the next question, like ChatGPT, Perplexity,
Hmm.
Gemini,
Claude.
which tool? Yeah, Claude is there.
Yeah.
Which tool you use the most and for what? If there are any other tools you use, then it is for what?
Yeah, yeah. No, that's a great question. I think so I'll tell you, like, you know, where and what I have used. Again, it depends on use case to use case. Uh, Primarily if I'm going about writing a blog post or writing or composing an email, to be honest, I've found Claude to be better. However, I think ChatGPT also has become a bit better now because they have started taking into account the historical context, which was not there before. I think it's a recent launch by them where they actually personalize it to the next level because they understand all the searches that you have done in the past and on the basis of that providing the recommendation. But personally, whenever I'm doing any blog post, anything on LinkedIn, anything related to content, whether it is an email, it would be switch between Claude and ChatGPT. Maybe you can say 50-50. Secondly, if I talk about, let's say, the search, I feel I'm still old school. While I have experimented with Perplexity, I have experimented with the, like, you know, with the Chat GPT and the deep search and all that. I've still been a Google boy for that matter, right? So I still go to the Google. And I think the summarization feature is really nice because whatever question I type, at least it gives me. Initially there were some challenges, but I think they have solved it over a period of time. So I'm still restricted my searches at least to the Google.
For writing code also, you're saying like
So,
if you
yeah,
were to write code, people used to go to Stack Overflow and search
correct,
for their solution.
correct.
But right now it is a ChatGPT. So ChatGPT is writing most of the code. So which
Yeah,
Cursor tool is also there, which
yeah,
is very famous right now and very competitive tools.
yes.
So for code writing, which tool you
Yeah.
use or use the
Yeah.
most?
So I think again it's very very important that you have a co-pilot because it's like a pair programmer in a way, right? Which is happening in across multiple industries. So typically, I think Cursor and Windsurf, these are the two which are like right now leading the way when it comes to the development part of the code as a co-pilot. GitHub Copilot is again like one of the things that we have for as a license for the team members at AI Palette. And I think these are again like the tools keep on evolving, to be very honest. I mean, at one point of time you may have one tool, but then suddenly a new capability would come up. So the industry is also changing very very fast. But right now, I mean, at least these are the three which I see in my circle: the Windsurf, the Cursor, and the GitHub Copilot. These are the three which are very very popular.
Okay. So, what do you think? Like, if we start writing code by this, do you see any threat or security from security point of view? If like our code will be
Yeah,
like it will be there on the chat GPT and everywhere. So, do you see some kind of threat or security concern?
got it, got it. Yeah, I think I remember reading about this particular article जहाँ पे किसी बंदे ने पूरा कोड बेस ही चैट जीपीटी पे डाल के like they asked to like write a particular function and whatnot, right? And to be honest, I think a lot of the transparency and ethical work etc needs to be done क्योंकि अभी काफ़ी सारी जो AI companies हैं, they are very, because of the fact that they are private companies, not lot of them are exposing exactly what happens to the data, right? And obviously there are multiple challenges like involved in how they are monetizing the data and whatnot, and currently they are not opening up a lot. But I definitely think this is something where some regulations will have to come up because the industry is moving so fast. I think the government is also not in a right place to even like go about it. So I think we really have to look at some sort of a private consortium to begin with, which can actually be like a private body and see some sort of collaboration with the government and then give recommendations on how to regulate it. Because I think just leaving it on the government will also not work because they don't understand the technology at that level. So having some of the key leaders, let's say from the different AI companies, and having them as part of the consortium will definitely help. But today, I agree with you. I think this is an open topic. I mean, everyone is like trying to figure out what would be the right strategy. I would still recommend, if you are at least having a sensitive document. For now, I would highly recommend don't directly put it on like Chat GPT and all that, unless you have the Azure, unless you have through Microsoft Azure, because I mean, even there, while they talk about the policies of not storing the data and everything, but again, if it's a very sensitive document, maybe you don't want to put it out there, right? I mean, keep it with you and see what how a human can solve it for the time being. But yeah, if it's like a generic thing like an email and all that, I mean, you can continue to use it, to be very honest.
Yeah, correct.
I don't see any challenges in that. And even for code, I think it's more about asking the right question. For example, like if you're trying to understand more of a function or a framework, so then it becomes a little easier. But let's say rather than giving it the entire code base and then asking it to rewrite it and whatnot.
When we say that about the security concern, but there are also open source models like DeepSeek, we can have it in our system and do it. So, what do you think? How safe it is, and
Hmm.
should the government use it or promote it, kind of thing? If we made it like if it is a China one,
Hmm.
but if you made it from India, yeah, of course it is. But
Yeah, yeah.
what are your views on that?
Hmm. Yeah, so again, I mean, to be very honest, I think the area itself is evolving. But I can tell you, at least what I am seeing is today, a lot of these models, I mean, even a DeepSeek model for that matter, it's not production ready. For example, when we were looking at our own use case, जहाँ पे कि हमें ट्रेंड्स वगैरह को आइडेंटिफाई करना था और उसे प्रोडक्शन इन्वायरमेंट में करना था, DeepSeek wouldn't work. It would just fail, right? And it was not stable. Now I think since then they have partnered up with Alibaba, and now through Alibaba Cloud you can actually get access to the DeepSeek model. And I think ByteDance के साथ भी शायद उन्होंने tie up करा है ByteDance cloud के साथ. So उसके through obviously there is a opportunity, but again, as you can imagine, the ByteDance, it's a China company, so all of the data is actually going to sit in their cloud, which is hosted in China, right? And like all of their data servers and everything is in China. So again, it boils down to the same question of whether you are open of releasing your proprietary data and everything to to a company, to a foreign company. I would still recommend, because there is no transparency today around these models on what exactly is happening to the data, how are they capturing it, where are they storing it,
Exactly.
right? It's all black box. So better approach will be to not use these models in the first place. I mean, better would be to even look at either the Western models, or try to see if you can use these models not for like the proprietary purposes, but maybe for the generic purposes, right? Which is where the majority of the work is also there, right? And you will still need a human to make sense of the very proprietary and very complex workflows etc which are there, or the challenges which are there. So एक तो ये consideration है. दूसरा है कि definitely government will have to step in. I think it's only a matter of time, and I think there are changes which are happening. I mean at the Mahakumbh which happened, the startup Mahakumbh, I think the Piyush Goyal also highlighted upon it, why India needs to invest into the deep tech. So it's a very straight call to the Indian startups कि let's start focusing on building our own thing, right? So that we can be self-sufficient and self-reliant, and we don't have to focus upon the others or rely upon the others. And there are some startups that are actually working in this. We had Sarvam AI who is building the foundational models. We have Smallest AI. Again, the founders are actually juniors from my college, of IIT Guwahati, and they are doing some very fantastic stuff. A big shout out to them as well for killing it out there.
Would you like to mention their name? If you
Yeah, so Sudarshan Kamath and Akshat Mardiloy.
Okay,
Yeah.
great.
So both of them are doing quite fantastic stuff. So yeah, so this is what is happening today. I think we are still early in this particular data privacy, data transparency, and all of that space. And I think only the time will tell how this will really go about. But if you are presently an enterprise or a government data custodian, I would highly recommend to not give out any proprietary unless you have the model itself deployed on your side. Then it's a different discussion. But if you are actually using any of the clouds, or if you're using any of the models where the data sharing is happening with a foreign company, then better to not get into all of that. At least if you had some proprietary information.
Correct. So that leads to my future view of agentic AI. So if you see after the 10 years where agentic AI will take us, or many things will evolve, but specifically with agentic AI, which are the impactful use cases you see that will be implemented?
Got it. Got it. So since I'm into the food, let me just give you a context of how it will look like. While I think we humans, if anything, the last few years and months have shown us, it is that world is incredibly unpredictable. Right? I mean, nobody expected Trump to do all of this what is happening today with the tariffs and whatnot. And things in the AI itself are changing so fast that you would not have imagined this 2 saal pehle.
Correct.
So I think if I specifically talk about, I think 10 years is again a very broad
Broad,
and very high. I'll tell you what will happen in even couple of years, or maybe within 5 years for that matter, and which are already starting to happen. So just to give you a flow of how the agentic AI will really impact, consider that today the agentic AI is actually able to go through your fridge and understand what is not just missing, but also order what is missing ऑटोमेटिकली फ्रॉम द जेप्टोस एंड द ब्लिंकिट्स, राइट? तो वो जाके जेप्टो और ब्लिंकिट से ऑर्डर कर देगा, और उसके अलावा उसको आपका कैलेंडर का एक्सेस होगा. इट विल नो कि किस दिन आप ऑफिस जाते हो, कितने से कितने बजे तक जाते हो. उसके बेसिस पे इट विल बी एबल टू सेट अप अ डिलीवरी टाइम ऑल्सो फॉर यू, कि किस टाइम पीरियड किस स्लॉट में आना चाहिए. माई गेट के साथ इंटीग्रेशन करके कि ऑटोमेटिकली उसको अप्रूवल मिल जाए जो डिलीवरी बॉय या जो बंदा लेके आएगा. सो ऑल ऑफ दैट, and then not just there, right? Even understanding your dietary restrictions, your patterns. अगर आप मान लो keto diet पे हो, for example, so how can the package meal be designed for you? आपका Monday को क्या खाना है, Tuesday को क्या खाना है? So all of that, how can it all come together? So I think it will be just AI on steroids. To be very honest, I think there will be like tons of this happening. This personalization will become very very key. I think your fridge will give recommendations based on you, mine will give based on mine, and again it will look at all the different patterns which are out there, crunch a lot of data at the in the billions of data points which are happening, and understand all of that. So I think this is just one of the examples. If I talk about from a personal F&B point of view, if I talk about from an industry point of view, again the same example if you remember which I spoke about, कि अगर मान लो कोको कोला को कुछ नया लॉन्च करना है, लेट्स से इन द मलेशिया मार्केट, एंड उन्हें लेट्स से एक ब्रीफ मिली है कि मेरे को जेंजीज के लिए एनर्जी ड्रिंक लॉन्च करनी है और मेरे को ये 6 महीने के अंदर अंदर काम करना है, सो हाउ एग्जैक्टली इट विल लुक लाइक, राइट? सो उसके लिए वो पूरा का पूरा प्लान बनाना, राइट फ्रॉम अंडरस्टैंडिंग कि यार क्या ट्रेंड चल रही है मार्केट में, पहले तो वो समझना किस टाइप के ट्रेंड है एनर्जी ड्रिंक के, उसके अलावा क्या नए ब्रांड्स क्या कर रहे हैं, उसके बेसिस पे एक कॉम्पिटिटिव स्ट्रैटेजी भी बना लेना कि आपका एक क्लियर डिफरेंशिएशन हो मार्केट में। उसके अलावा वो पैकेजिंग कैसी लगेगी, और वो पैकेजिंग डिफरेंट ओकेजन्स पे हाउ इट विल बी, लेट्स से आपका रामादान है तो हाउ इट विल बी, इफ इट इज़ अ ईद उल फितर देन हाउ इट विल बी, राइट? सो डिफरेंट ओकेजन्स के बेसिस पे वो डिफरेंट टाइप की पैकेजिंग को हाईलाइट कर देगा। उसके अलावा आपका जो डिस्क्रिप्शन होगा उस प्रोडक्ट का वो कैसा होना चाहिए, वो किस तरीके से अमेज़न पे होना चाहिए, वो किस तरीके से लज़ाडा, शॉपी पे होना चाहिए, जिससे कि इम्पैक्ट ज़्यादा हो, राइट? कि अमेज़न पे किस तरीके का डिस्क्रिप्शन हो कि यूज़र एक्चुअली इंटरेस्टेड हो उसमें। सो ऑल ऑफ दिस एंड देन फॉलोड बाई कि उसकी जीटीएम स्ट्रेटजी क्या होगी, कि मैं उसे कुआलालंपुर से लॉन्च करूंगा या मैं उसे लंकावी में करूंगा, मैं कौन सी जगह पे जाके उसे लॉन्च करूंगा, और कितने एसकेयूज होंगे। सो वो पूरा का पूरा प्लान बनाना जिसमें ह्यूमंस को आप लगा लीजिए कि ऑलमोस्ट 6 महीने से 12 महीने तक का टाइम पीरियड लग जाता है वो,
बड़ी टीम।
और बड़ी टीम इतनी लगती है वो, आप एक बंदा बैठे बैठे I mean a person, a man and a woman, sitting together will be able to get that with with just few prompts, right? So I think that's where we are heading. I think it's incredibly it's going to be incredibly exciting. At the same time, it's also scary, right? कि क्या होगा, मतलब अगर इस level पे automation होगा, so what actually happens? But again, I am of a AI optimist camp, so I still think there will be more opportunities for us. Maybe more jobs will get created. Some newer challenges will come for us. क्योंकि आज के दिन में अगर आप देखिए, हम लोग जो भी challenges काम कर रहे हैं वो अर्थ रिलेटेड है। We are not working on challenges related to say Mars or space exploration. But then once all of this gets automated, we will get more free time. So we'll start thinking about कि यार अब मेरे को मार्स में कैसे रॉकेट लेके जाना है। I will get at the level of Elon Musk. I will start thinking about the problems at the universe scale rather than just thinking about these basic problems जो कि आज के दिन में मेरी हो रही है। So I think it will really unlock more ambitious channels and also increase the creativity a lot.
Correct. Do you see any impactful use case in the health sector?
सो आई थिंक हेल्थ सेक्टर में भी सिमिलरली इफ यू टॉक अबाउट इट, आज के दिन में आपकी जो भी एप्पल वॉच हो गए या फिर आपकी स्मार्ट रिंग्स जो कि आ रही है मार्केट में, जो कि आपका पूरा का पूरा ट्रैक करती हैं ईच एंड एवरी वाइटल बायोडेटा एंड वट नॉट। सो वट विल हैपन इज आई थिंक दे विल बिकम मोर प्रिडिक्टिव, क्योंकि आज के दिन में होता क्या है कि काफ़ी बार आपको वो डेटा तो हो जाता है बट देन इट्स नॉट गिविंग आउट। द वे इट वर्क्स इज कि अगर आपका हार्ट बीट हायर होगा देन ओनली इट विल गिव यू लाइक अ अलर्ट, राइट? कि आपका हार्ट बीट हायर है, या फिर फॉर एग्जांपल कभी आप अगर कॉन्सर्ट्स में जाते हो तो वो आपको डेसिबल अलर्ट देता है कि यू आर इन अ लाउड प्लेस, राइट? बट अगर इफ आई लुक एट हाउ द एजेंटिक एआई विल रियली शेप इट, सी एजेंटिक एआई फर्स्टली इट विल हैव एक्सेस टू ऑल योर रिपोर्ट्स जो कि आपने हेल्थ रिपोर्ट्स करवाई होंगी इन द पास्ट, राइट? आपके जो भी receipts होंगी from the doctor, so it will have understanding of all your health conditions, medical conditions. Secondly, it will have access to the 24/7 जो कि आपका डेटा चल रहा है, राइट? इन टर्म्स ऑफ वेदर इट इज़ अ स्मार्ट रिंग या फिर आपकी एप्पल वॉच या जो भी फिटनेस वॉच को यूज़ करते हैं। सो उसके बेसिस पे इट विल बी एबल टू बिकम बेटर एट प्रिडिक्टिंग कि आपका, लेट्स से फॉर एग्जांपल इट विल नो कि आप 8 से 9 ओ क्लॉक पे एक्सरसाइज करते हो, जिस पे कि आप हाई इंटेंसिटी की एक्सरसाइज करते हो एंड आपका हार्ट बीट हायर होता है, राइट? So then it will be able to understand that automatically and then not flag that as an as something which
Alert
is
होता है।
alert, right? But at the same time if it knows कि आपका average रहता था 170 but now this is going 174 180, so then maybe it will start alerting, right? And the way that it can do it is maybe it can call up a doctor, maybe it can call up an ambulance, right? So all of that automation workflows you can build in the agentic AI, जहाँ पे कि वो decisions भी आपके behalf पे ले लेगा। क्योंकि आज के दिन में सबसे बड़ा चैलेंज ये होता है कि काफ़ी बार यू माइट बी एक्सरसाइजिंग बट मे बी यू आर एक्सरसाइजिंग अलोन इन योर होम, राइट? सो आपको बचाने के लिए भी कोई लाइक आप होगे भी नहीं उस पोजीशन में कि आप बचा पाओ। बट अगर आपका एजेंट है तो वो एक तरीके से आपका एक कंपेनियन है, राइट? व्हिच इज़ कीपिंग अ वॉच ऑन यू एंड अलर्टिंग एट द राइट टाइम एंड मे बी इवन एंड अप इन सेविंग योर लाइफ, राइट? विद अ मैटर ऑफ फ्यू मिनट्स एंड आवर्स। So that's the way I see, I think technology will become so ingrained कि एक-एक चीज़ में it will become so automated that we will not even think about it. It will all seem very seamless. जैसे आज के दिन में हम लोग जब कुछ भी ऑर्डर करते हैं और वो 10 मिनट्स में आ जाता है, इट्स वेरी सीमलेस, राइट? नाउ आई कांट रिमेंबर लास्ट टाइम जब मैं सब्जी खरीदने के लिए घर से गया हूँ। द कन्वीनियंस इज़ टू मच एंड आई थिंक दैट्स व्हाट विल हैपन विद ऑल ऑफ दीस, राइट? कि हम लोग हॉस्पिटल जाना ही भूल जाएँगे बिकॉज़ द मॉनिटरिंग इज़ हैपनिंग सो फास्ट, इट्स बिकमिंग सो प्रेडिक्टिव कि मैं कल के दिन में बीमार ही नहीं होऊँगा, राइट? इनिशियली ही मेरे को अलर्ट आ जाएगा कि ये इनिशियल सिम्पटम्स हैं फीवर के, इनिशियल सिम्पटम्स हैं कफ एंड कोल्ड के, सो आई विल बी टेकिंग प्रिकॉशनरी स्टेप्स कि वो कभी हो भी ना।
गॉट इट। वेरी इंटरेस्टिंग यूज केसेस। कोई ऐसी इंटरेस्टिंग स्टोरीज व्हाइल यू आर बिल्डिंग दैट एआई पायलट स्टार्टअप, कुछ challenges in the data or something like that?
हाँ, सो आई थिंक काफ़ी सारे चैलेंजेस हुए थे एंड आई विल टेल यू 2 जो कि काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग थे, राइट? सो एक तो हुआ था थाईलैंड मार्केट में और एक हुआ था साउथ कोरिया मार्केट में। सो थाईलैंड वाला लेट मी टॉक अबाउट द थाईलैंड वन फर्स्ट। सो एसेंशियली होता क्या था कि जब हम लोग इनसाइट्स वगैरह देखते थे थाईलैंड मार्केट के डैशबोर्ड्स के लिए डिफरेंट कैटेगरीज़ में, तो काफ़ी बार हमें पेट केयर वाले इनसाइट्स दिख रहे थे, जो कि पेट रिलेटेड इनसाइट्स हैं, जैसे कोई डॉग रिलेटेड इनसाइट हो गया या कैट रिलेटेड इनसाइट हो गया एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट। तो हम लोग काफ़ी कन्फ्यूज़ हो गए थे एंड हमारे कस्टमर्स भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा कन्फ्यूज़ थे कि कि ऐसा क्यों हो रहा है एंड व्हाई आर दे गेटिंग कि कुत्ता-बिल्ली की इनसाइट्स मिल रही हैं उन्हें एंड ऑल ऑफ दैट। सो वो हमने थोड़ा-सा अंडरस्टैंड करने का कोशिश करा। सो हम लोग डेटा में थोड़ा-सा डिटेलिंग में गए और हमने क्या रियलाइज़ करा कि थाईलैंड में देयर इज़ अ कल्चर जहाँ पे कि लोग अपने पेट को आफ्टर फूड नेम करते हैं। सो काफ़ी सारे लोगों ने अपने डॉग को लेट्स से पेप्सी नाम दिया था या कोला नाम दिया था अपनी बिल्ली को या लेट्स से कुकी नाम दिया था एंड व्हाट दे वुड राइट इन द पोस्ट इज़ कि आई लव माय कुकी एंड आई लव माय कोको कोला, राइट? सो उससे आप अगर आप बस टेक्स्ट को देखोगे तो आप कभी डिफरेंशिएट ही नहीं कर पाओगे, राइट? सो इसीलिए फिर हमने क्या करा अपनी पाइपलाइन पे हमने मल्टी मॉडल करना चालू कर दिया जिससे कि टेक्स्ट और इमेजेस दोनों के कॉम्बिनेशन से हम डेटा को क्लीन करते थे और उससे क्या हुआ कि हमारा जो फॉल्स पॉजिटिव्स थे वो काफ़ी रिड्यूस हो गए। क्योंकि अल्टीमेटली होता क्या था कि इमेज में तो वो पेट के साथ ही होते थे और उससे हमारा एक फ़िल्ट्रेशन एटलीस्ट हो गया और एक्यूरेसी डेटा की काफ़ी बढ़ गई थाई लैंग्वेज के लिए। सो एक ये काफ़ी इंटरेस्टिंग सा हुआ था। दूसरा एक और जो इंस्टेंस हुआ था, ये हुआ था कोरिया मार्केट में, साउथ कोरिया मार्केट में स्पेसिफिकली। सो एक बार इन सम ऑफ द मंथ्स व्हाट वी सडनली सॉ वाज़ कि सी फूड के अराउंड जो कन्वर्सेशन है वो सडनली बहुत सा ज़्यादा हाई हो गई है। तो हम लोग काफ़ी कन्फ्यूज़ हो गए कि एकदम से ऐसा क्या हो गया कि इतनी मछलियाँ आ गई हैं क्या मार्केट में या फिर क्या ऐसा हो गया है कि ये सडनली इतना स्पाइक आ रहा है इन द डेटा। सो देन वी स्टार्टेड एक्सप्लोरिंग द डेटा एंड इंटरेस्टिंगली व्हाट वी आइडेंटिफाइड वाज़ दिस हैपेंड ड्यूरिंग द टाइम ऑफ स्क्विड गेम, राइट? और स्क्विड गेम जो कि नेटफ्लिक्स का काफ़ी पॉपुलर शो था, तो उसकी वजह से काफ़ी सारी कन्वर्सेशंस वर गेटिंग फॉल्स पॉजिटिव और उसकी वजह से हमारा डेटा काफ़ी स्क्यू हो गया। सो उसमें अगेन काफ़ी कॉर्नर केसेस भी थे क्योंकि काफ़ी बार होता था कि कोई स्क्विड गेम देख रहा है नेटफ्लिक्स में बट वो मच्छी भी खा रहा है साथ में, राइट? सो हाउ डू यू डिफरेंशिएट कि वो एक्चुअली में स्क्विड गेम गेम भी है और वो एक्चुअली में सी फूड भी है, राइट? सो उसके अराउंड फिर हमने काफ़ी ज़्यादा मॉडलिंग करी, डेटा क्लीनिंग पाइपलाइन करी और अल्टीमेटली उसके बेसिस पे फिर हमने अपना डेटा क्लीनिंग मॉड्यूल बना के उसे अल्टीमेटली आउटपुट के लिए रेलिवेंट बनाया और फॉल्स पॉजिटिव को काफ़ी रिड्यूस करा। एंड आई थिंक ये दिस इज़ नॉट द चैलेंज जो कि हमें ही फेस होता है। आई थिंक ये किसी भी इंडस्ट्री में अगर आप चले जाएँ, स्पेशली अगर आप किसी ट्रेडिशनल इंडस्ट्री में जाएँ, आप लीगल में चले जाएँ, आप फाइनेंस में चले जाएँ, आप कंस्ट्रक्शन में चले जाएँ, डेटा रेडीनेस फॉर एआई मॉडल इज़ अ बिग चैलेंज क्योंकि आपके पास डेटा तो बहुत सारा है बट वो काफ़ी अनस्ट्रक्चर्ड है और अगर आप उस डेटा को एज इट इज़ एआई को दे देंगे तो वो आपको जंक आउटपुट दे देगा। सो इसीलिए काफ़ी ज़्यादा इम्पॉर्टेंट है किसी भी एआई फाउंडर के लिए या एआई डेवलपर के लिए कि डेटा क्लीनिंग में काफ़ी ज़्यादा टाइम इन्वेस्ट करें एंड काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें और डेटा क्लीनिंग कैन नॉट हैपन ओनली विद एआई। You also have to look at pattern matching. You also have to look at cleaning modules. There is a lot of stuff which a human can do, which directly you might not be able to get it done with an AI. सो हमने काफ़ी सारी चीज़ें अपनी जो क्लीनिंग पाइपलाइन की हैं या क्लीनिंग मॉड्यूल की हैं, उसमें काफ़ी टाइम हमने स्पेंड करा, काफ़ी मनी स्पेंड करा, रिसोर्स स्पेंड करा। एंड आई थिंक नाउ वी हैव रीच्ड एट अ डिसेंट एंटरप्राइज एक्सेप्टेबल एक्यूरेसी लेवल स्टेज,
Mhm.
राइट? एंड आई थिंक दैट्स अ वेरी की लेसन, अ वेरी की टेक अवे कि डेटा को हमेशा रिफाइन करिए, डेटा क्लीनिंग पे फोकस करिए, क्योंकि मॉडलिंग आप कर लेंगे बट क्लीनिंग अगर नहीं है तो उससे काफ़ी चैलेंजेस आपको आएंगे इन द बिजनेस आउटकम। क्योंकि आपका जो आउटपुट आएगा अगर वो बिजनेस सेंस नहीं बना रहा है, सो अल्टीमेटली कस्टमर को कॉन्फिडेंस नहीं आएगा और आपका प्रोडक्ट भी वो यूज़ नहीं करेंगे।
Hmm. So 2018 में मल्टी मॉडल which models you use for this?
हाँ, सो हम लोगों ने प्राइमरली यूज़ करा था रोबर्टा करके एक मॉडल है जो कि एक्चुअली में आपका इमोजीज वगैरह को भी एक्सटेंड होता है। सो रोबर्टा इज़ अ मॉडल जो कि आप टेक्स्ट के लिए तो करते ही हो, उसके साथ साथ इमोजीज के लिए भी करते हो। सिमिलरली हमने इसके अराउंड फिर इसको कंटिन्यूअसली भी केप्ट ऑन फाइन ट्यूनिंग है। सो हमने इसमें मल्टीपल लैंग्वेजेस वगैरह इंट्रोड्यूस करी। इसमें एक जो की इम्पोर्टेंस होता था वो होता था डेटा प्रिपरेशन, क्योंकि आपको डेटा एक्चुअली में मैनुअली प्रिपेयर करना पड़ता था। तो हमारी पार्टनरशिप थी विद मल्टीपल डेटा प्रोवाइडर्स एंड वेंडर्स, जो कि लोकल एजेंसीज होती थी इन साउथ ईस्ट एशिया फॉर एग्जांपल, जिनसे हम लेबल्ड डेटा लेते थे। सो फॉर एग्जांपल कोरियन लैंग्वेज के लिए वी वुड टेक की लेबल्ड डेटा जो कि फूड रिलेटेड है। सिमिलरली अगर मेरे को थाई के लिए कुछ मॉडल बनाना है तो सिमिलरली आई वुड लुक एट कि थाई का टैग डेटा कैसा होगा। सो ऑल ऑफ दैट वी डिड। सो बर्ट रोबर्टा वाज वन ऑफ द प्राइमरी वंस। उसके अलावा एल्मो वगैरह भी हमने ट्राई करा था। T5 was another one that we leveraged. So these were the initial ones, but slowly I think we started moving towards the GPT when GPT started coming in. एंड उसके बाद भी हम लोग जीपीटी में रेस्ट्रिक्ट नहीं रहे। जैसे मैंने प्रीवियसली बताया था, हमने क्या आइडेंटिफाई करा कि एवरी एलएलएम हैज़ इट्स ओन स्पेशलाइजेशंस। सो जैसे अगर मैं चाइनीज़ की बात करूँ या मैं साउथ ईस्ट एशियन की लैंग्वेजेस की बात करूँ, तो क्वेन काफ़ी अच्छा काम करता है, विच इज़ अ मॉडल बाय अलीबाबा। सिमिलरली अगर मैं यूरोपियन लैंग्वेजेस की बात करूँ, तो मिक्सट्रल के मॉडल काफ़ी अच्छे हैं फॉर फ्रेंच, जर्मन एंड द अदर्स। एंड इंग्लिश के लिए तो आपका ऑफ कोर्स जीपीटी गिव्स यू अ गुड इनफ एक्यूरेसी। सो आई थिंक एज अ एआई बिल्डर एंड एज अ एआई फाउंडर, इट इज़ वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट कि आप ये भी समझें कि आपको कौन-सा टूल कहाँ लगाना है, राइट? देयर इज़ नो वन साइज़ फिट ऑल सॉल्यूशन। आपको यही एंड दैट इज़ वेयर द ह्यूमन इनसाइट आल्सो कम्स इन, क्योंकि देयर आर नाउ मल्टीपल टूल्स व्हिच आर कमिंग। बट आपको कौन-सा कहाँ लगाना है, कौन से मॉडल को किस तरीके से यूज़ करना है, कैसे वर्कफ्लो बनाना है, दैट इज़ वेयर यू विल बी स्पेंडिंग अ लॉट मोर टाइम नाउ, rather than building a foundational model from scratch.
Correct. Okay. So, just when we were talking about the agent care, that one scenario, what happened, right? LinkedIn founder, LinkedIn CEO, I think he tried the Replit tool.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Do you know that story?
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah. I think he tried to clone the LinkedIn
Clone
and
LinkedIn.
gave amazing results.
Yeah,
So, in future, what do you think that if we are able to clone every other platform,
yeah.
so how it is gonna look like?
Yeah. So I think the copywriting is going to be a big challenge.
Big.
I think and it's not going to be easy to be able to differentiate. And I think, I mean, if you look at the AI generated art, for example, it's already becoming very difficult, right? Today, if I show you an AI generated art versus a human generated art of, let's say, a Ghibli style,
Yeah.
you will not be able to differentiate between the two, right? Because आई थिंक वन थिंग विच एआई इज़ रियली गुड एट इज़ कॉपिंग। वो पैटर्न्स वगैरह काफ़ी ईज़िली कॉपी कर लेता है आपके टेक्सचर का, कलर का and all of that, right? So
Correct.
so I think the copywriting, it's again a big issue, because then how do you really attribute the ownership of a particular model, and to whom it should be given to, right? So it's a big challenge, it's a big open question. And I think that's where you need some guardrails, certain regulations to come in. And taking a cue from my previous answer, I think definitely it would need to be a consortium of government, but at the same time it cannot be just government, because they will not understand the technology. So they definitely have to involve some key AI policy makers, some key AI founders, some key AI researchers for that matter, right? It has to be a diverse set of people जो कि अलाइन करें कि क्या पॉलिसीज हमें बनानी है, क्या रेस्ट्रिक्शंस करने हैं, राइट? बिकॉज टुमारो फॉर एग्जांपल यू डोंट वांट द एआई टू बी यूज्ड फॉर, लेट्स से, बॉम्ब बिल्डिंग,
Hmm.
right? क्योंकि now since the models are so trained on all the data which is out there, कल के दिन में you don't want like a terrorist GPT that comes up, right? जिसमें कि टेररिस्ट जाके कुछ भी क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं, उन्हें सारी डिटेल मिल जा रही है कि मेरे को बताओ कि पॉलिटिशियंस की क्या क्या लोकेशंस हैं,
Yeah.
मुझे बताओ कि मेरे को बॉम्ब को कैसे टारगेट करना चाहिए, मुझे ये बॉम्ब कैसे बनाना चाहिए, इसको मैं 10x एफिशिएंसी कैसे बनाऊं, राइट? सो ऑल ऑफ दैट यू विल this consortium of regulations is needed so that they can put in the right checks to ensure कि data को कैसे आप ingest कर रहे हो, किन models में कर रहे हो, how are you ensuring कि private data remains private, it is not getting used by these open source models. So a lot of the regulation needs to come into. I think it's an open area. Hopefully, there are some AI policy makers and some government official that maybe will watch this video in future, and they can take a cue to really seriously consider and look into this.
I think a lot of writers also mention this, like all the chat GPTs and the rest of the models are trained on their writing
Yeah.
style. It is able to copy everything. Even if for the podcasting, even if I see that
Yeah.
I want a podcast questions in Joe Rogan style, Paiti
Yeah.
Upadhyay
Yeah.
style, I get everything that
Yeah.
it is able to copy at that level.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
No, you're right. I mean, it's very hard to differentiate also, and yeah, I think it's going to become a very complex for us going forward, right? Because see, I think one of the other challenges which is happening is if an AI can copy your voice, it can copy the way that you write, it can copy your image itself, and it can then generate a video of you. Then you can imagine what all can happen, right? How the frauds can increase, how they can impersonation will increase. So definitely it needs a lot of guardrails, it needs a lot of regulations around data sharing, data privacy, and I think we are still very way too early. I think the government is definitely lacking a lot, to be very honest with you. I think they will need to play a proactive, if not a proactive, then at least an active role to really understand what is happening and try to bring in regulations early than later.
Recently, one day before, I saw one video of Kareena Kapoor avatar surfacing the Instagram.
Okay.
It's what
Okay.
going viral.
Yeah, yeah,
It was
yeah.
the rave party.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Okay.
that kind of
That's scary.
misbehave,
Yeah.
yeah, can be done with the AI. So we really need to look into this
True.
guardrails, what we can.
I remember there was this one, and it was a very old video. I think when I say old, obviously now old definition is also changing,
Mm.
but I think a couple of years back, which was around, I think, Barack Obama, and then somebody had
Deep sync.
deep fake, right? Where somebody had lip sync. I mean, imagine today, right? You can make Narendra Modi speak anything and everything, right?
Yeah.
And similarly, you can incite riots, you can do violence, you can do
In his
everything
own style.
in his own style, right?
With his
Exactly.
voice
And
can.
and people are again and because masses are not aware about the repercussions of the technology, this becomes even more difficult. So I think that's where a lot of regulations and even some sort of technological development needs to happen to start differentiating the AI generated text versus the human text. And there are some startups that are also trying to tackle that problem.
Okay.
But I think we really need more work on these aspects also.
Okay, correct. Would you like to talk about the global data acquisition? How did that process happen? And as a founder, which points we should consider before, like when we are getting acquired? What kind of considerations or deals or
Got it.
any other points?
Got it.
Thing?
Yeah. So, before I talk about the AI pilot acquisition, let me just talk about in general why acquisition happened, right? So, there are primarily three reasons why they happen. The first is the team, the second would be the technology, and the third would be the traction. And the value that you will see of a deal is actually in the ascending order of these, right? So, if I talk about the team first, now the team are the simplest ones, right? And typically you would have seen the acqui-hire that happened where they would merge the team with their own team, right? And make them as part of a subsidiary team for that matter, right? So that's the first type. The second is the technology. Now, again, in this ever evolving world of changing AI landscape, the technology, acquiring the models, acquiring the workflows that you have built in data engineering, data science, and all of that is very, very critical. It's also time consuming. So if you are acquiring someone for a technology, obviously you are paying certain money to acquire that, right? So that's the second interesting part. And then the third one, which is again very, very important, is the traction. So what you mean by the traction is what are the customers, what is the revenue, and what are the early signals that this particular startup has demonstrated, which can actually help us in acquiring this business and which can help us in giving a conviction about acquiring this business, right? So that's where a lot of value gets unlocked because the killer combination is a combination of all three of these, where you have the team, the technology,
Track.
and the traction, all three of them combined, and that's where the true value gets unlocked, right? Now, in case of AI Palette, fortunately, it was a combination of all three. And specifically from global data perspective, Firstly, they were looking to build out, they were already interested to build out their base in Bangalore. Currently, they have a tech office in Hyderabad, and a part of their team is also sits in Delhi, in Gurgaon. But then they don't have an office in Bangalore, and they wanted to tap into the Bangalore talent pool, right? So that was one of the reasons why they went after the first T, which is the team. The second, the technology, again, quite obvious because they are a traditional company. While they definitely have data analytics and data insights, AI is something that they have been experimenting with. Now today, of course, they have a lot of AI models also that are coming out. But again, they were very interested in what we have built from a proprietary data point of view and from a AI modeling point of view, specifically for the food industry and the beauty and personal care industry, right? So that's the second part of the technology. And then the third part, which is attraction, is again was again something that excited them because of the fact that we work with customers like Nestle, we work with customers like PepsiCo, Mondelez, to name a few, and we work with customers across multiple geographies and not just one country, which showcases that it's a global problem. It's not a problem which is only India centric, and the market is huge. You're basically going after the global solution and a global problem at scale. So this is the reason of why they went after the acquisition part of it. Now, in terms of how did the process start, right? So process again, like any investment process for that matter, is even more time taking than the regular investment process. I think the conversations happened around 2 years ago, right? And it actually started more as a partnership discussion, which then slowly started converting into investment firstly, and then into a full acquisition of the company, 100% acquisition of the company. So that's how the conversation started. Again, during the course of the time, they when they spoke with us, when they chatted with us, they realized that what is the three T's which I spoke about, they got a lot of conviction on those three T's. And that's how they became very convinced that they should go after the full acquisition. Again, if I have to now talk about what are the different aspects which a big company or a big acquirer considers. So the first thing, the first principle is the build versus buy, right? And which is again very common in the B2B industry. The build versus buy is very simple. Either they can build this technology in house, or they can buy someone who has already done that and has gone through all the blood, sweat, and tears, right? So in our case, because they had actually gone through all of that journey, and they also looked through our product and the traction and all the other stuff that we had, they became very convinced that it's easier to buy than to put their resources and their efforts into building this from scratch, which would have again taken them very long time.
It also comes with the clients, right? You already have.
Exactly, huh?
Yeah.
And we also had the client. So we had a T, the traction, which actually gave them a lot of conviction that hey, they already have these customers, which we can then add and and how do we upsell then these customers to the next level, right? So that was one of the ways in which the entire conversation unfolded, which is the build versus buy. The important thing which I will the lesson which I would definitely give to all the founders is start thinking about the exit strategy also if you are getting some interest, right? So for example, a lot of the time what happens is you want to build something big, and everyone wants to build the unicorn. But unicorn is not an easy journey, right? It easily eats up your 10 to 20 years of the life. So I think the key thing to realize is when is the right time to also exit. So in our case, because we were getting an offer, and it came at the right time, and we also realized that this will help us to turbocharge our distribution and also give us access to a lot of proprietary data that they have, and it will actually make AI Palette a global brand because they already have customers in all the different geographies.
Okay.
And by partnering with them, we will be able to take our product to the next level and build a legacy behind. Right?
So it was a win-win situation
So
for.
it was a win-win situation, and that's what we realized that we should take this offer. And again, there were two thoughts that should we continue towards the unicorn status. I mean, when I say unicorn, obviously I mean the 100 million ARR status, and continue to grow the revenue and all of that. But I think the idea was that let's go ahead with this because again the timing matters. There will always be the opportunity cost, but I think it's important to also realize when you want to take a particular decision. And I think for personally for me, I'm a big fan of the 0 to 1 journey. So I really enjoy the journey more than the 1 to 100 is what I have realized personally. So I will be again back in action, hopefully maybe sometime in the future, once I'm done with the particular global data journey.
Understood.
Yeah.
So I think we had a wonderful discussion today. It will be very useful to the person who is as a founder or general also, if they are looking more into AI, what AI can do, the AI capabilities. It would be amazing for them to watch this podcast. Yeah. So next moving forward, we'll have the rapid fire round where I'll expect you to answer in one line or one or two keywords, I would say.
Coffee with Karan.
Yeah, kind of thing. Okay. So, one book every founder must read, like technically also and non-tech also.
I think 0 to 1. And I'll give you one more. The hard thing about hard things.
Your top three AI tools recommendation.
So again, it's very difficult to choose out of ChatGPT and Claude, but these two would definitely be there.
Okay.
The other one which I would recommend is Fireflies.ai. It's a meeting and note-taking tool which definitely turbocharges your meeting productivity.
Okay.
Another one I would give is Presentations.ai. It's for creating pitch decks, and especially if you're a founder or a person on the business side and even on the tech side, then you need to prepare the presentations for your customers and also for the investors. So Presentation.ai would be another one.
Okay. If not, if not AI palette, then which startup you would be building now?
Great question. I have not thought about it. But if I were not building AI palette, I think I would still be in the data domain and working on a hard AI problem. Maybe something in the space tech because universe interests me quite a lot.
Okay. One city every entrepreneur should visit at least once.
Apart from Bangalore, you mean? So I did visit the San Francisco. Again, this happened back in 2017, and I think the energy there is just infectious. I think every founder should just go there. It should be like a pilgrimage, right? You go for like maybe 3 months just to be there and see how the startup energy and the things are, and I think you will return as a wise person.
Okay. Biggest myth about a founder.
That they have a lot of money.
Okay. One person dead or alive, you would love to have dinner with.
You mean historically, or do you mean on?
Alive, dead, any kind of the person you admire the most.
Okay. In that sense, I think Elon Musk. When he's not angry, obviously, because I think the guy has just range of ideas and the kind of industries in which he has worked on, and I think as a curious person myself would love to know more in depth about those particular areas.
Got it. One thing AI can never replace.
The emotional part of it, I still think that we are far from the emotional touch that maybe a robot can provide. But you have never know. Maybe with AGI it might change. But yeah,
Okay. Best startup advice you have ever received.
I think the best I have ever received is that life and entrepreneurship in itself is a long game, and don't go for just like shortcuts and quick wins. You need to be patient. It's a marathon, not a sprint,
Mm.
and you have to slog it for a long time.
Okay. The AI use case that still blows your mind.
I think the video generation is just taking me, it's just blowing my mind away. I still remember there was this one video of Will Smith having spaghetti noodles, which was long time back, and it was a very bad video, and it became like a hilarious meme. Today, if you do the same thing, you will see a fantastic video. So I think the capabilities of content generation are just going off the chart. And today I who just have some creative ideas, I can create a video which previously was very difficult because I would have to learn through like multiple tools and all of that.
The founder life in one emoji.
Founder life. Have you seen that emoji where the person is both happy and sad, sort of a thing, like a bittersweet sort of a thing? Yeah, it would be that.
Okay.
And unusual.
Unusual skill that you have outside of work.
One unusual skill which I would have is I like to really go into the details. So I remember like very random facts about different things.
Okay.
And yeah, so that's one thing about me. I'm very geeky in that way. Yeah.
Okay. Biggest lesson you have learned from a customer, your client.
I think the biggest lesson, especially in the enterprise, because I've been in the enterprise sales and that particular process is, uh, be patient and don't force fit your solution into the problem. Always wait for the customer to highlight their problem and then try to see what you can do. Always give them an opportunity to speak and vent out their challenges and their frustration, because then only you will learn. Initially, our approach, at least as previous approach, would be to sell the solution and just shove it as a solution. But I think that's not the right approach, is what we have realized.
Okay. And what do you think about the concept of solopreneur? Do you think it is possible or not in the coming time?
Yeah. I think if I remember correctly, Sam Altman just a couple of months ago talked about and referred to the 1% unicorn, and I think it was a question of when and not if. And I totally believe in that idea. Looking at how the different AI agentic tools are coming up, whether it is from coding to marketing to graphic designing, I definitely think that's possible. You already have startups today with a very lean team and reaching multi-million dollars in revenue. And I think it's only a matter of time until someone becomes a unicorn as well. So definitely possible.
Yeah, okay. Thank you so much, Himanshu, for this wonderful rapid fire and rest of the conversation. Thank
Thank you
you.
so much for the opportunity. I had a lovely chat, and thank you, and I hope it will be useful for the viewers who are there.
Thank you.